Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Dave's Faves. And for some reason, when I alight on something, I tend to do things in groups. I mean, like I do French things with French. I did a bunch of French stuff. I did Roussel, then Dutilleux, then I was in a French mode. Well, I was in an English mode. So for this little two groups of faves, I did Handel, and now I'm doing Vaughan Williams. And in this particular case, this is a wonderful, wonderful disc of rarities. Vaughan Williams actually wrote a tremendous amount of music that we don't know very well. Some of it's had to be reconstructed, but it's there, and reconstructed in a sense of not, composing what he didn't actually write, but rather tidying up what he did. And this is one of those cases. You get the suite Fat Night, he called it, from Sir John in Love, the opera. And this is a very, very substantial suite. It was realized by Martin Yates, because here's what happened. Vaughan Williams wrote a two-piano score of the suite as he wanted it to, appear, but he never actually orchestrated it. But orchestrating it isn't such a big deal because he wrote the complete opera. So all the music exists orchestrated. You just have to, take the chunks from the opera and stick them into the two-piano version of the, suite that he made from the opera, and adapt, in a couple places, vocal lines. For instruments. But otherwise, it's all Vaughan Williams. And it's been extremely well executed by Martin Yates, the conductor, here with the Royal Scottish National Orchestra. And this is a very substantial piece of Vaughan Williams. It's a chunk. I'm looking at this thing. It's about 50 minutes long. 55 minutes long. It has like a 12-minute movement and 6-minute movements. It's in large pieces of Sir John in Love. And Sir John in Love is beautiful. It's an absolutely lovely, marvelous, fun Falstaff opera. There are so many Falstaff operas. And as an opera, it will forever be cursed by having to be compared to the other big Falstaff opera. Well, The Merry Wives of Windsor by Otto Nicolai, and then, of course, Verdi's Falstaff. And so, although the plot has its own, differences and whatnot, and the music is totally Vaughan Williamsy, the opera doesn't have a lot of legs at this point. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? What's really cool about this, though, is that Sir John in Love was composed for the most part in the 1920s, which is exactly the same period as a London Symphony and a Pastoral Symphony. And so this is music in that style. If you like the Pastoral Symphony and you like a London Symphony, you will hear things in here that are so similar. I was listening to, I think it was the second track here, one of those where all of a sudden I thought I was in the scherzo of a London Symphony. You really hear the resemblance of that period in Vaughan Williams' life, and that's a point in his career which everybody likes. He produced some of his most popular works at that time. So Fat Night is really a thing for you Vaughan Williams people, and we should be very grateful to Martin Yates and Dutton for doing this. Dutton has a whole series of Vaughan Williams rarities. They're wonderful. And so, you should have a look. Have a look at what they got, because it's really cool. It's the Dutton Epoch line, and it's first-class stuff. They're first-class recordings sonically, because Dutton has an audiophile reputation, and they care about what their stuff sounds like, and they are a wonderful repertoire. So that's just marvelous. And then you get two other works here that I need to talk about. One is the Overture to Henry V, which was, again, this was a piece for brass band that was arranged for orchestra by Yates, and there's no difference in this case between all sorts of other works where that was done. Vaughan Williams has his own, share of that sort of thing, because there was the English folk song suite that I think was Gordon Jacob arranged for a symphony orchestra. So that's okay. Band arrangements for orchestra, again, I'm picky about people completing things that composers never wrote. But I have no problem with arranging the things that they did. And the Henry V Overture, as you might expect, is a big, pageant-like, historical, sort of, the England of Elizabeth, the three portraits from the England of Elizabeth, that series, the film music, it's kind of in that vein. And it's another quite substantial work. It's 8 minutes and 53 seconds. It's not nonsense. and it's all but unknown. I don't think it's even known as a band piece, quite frankly. I've never heard it programmed. And I used to play band and listen to band and do all that stuff. I was a band guy. So I have absolutely no clue where that came from. So it's marvelous that we have it here. And then finally, maybe to attract some people to the disc more generally, you get the Serenade to Music in its purely orchestral arrangement, which we've talked about. I mean, it's one of the top something purely, most purely beautiful, gorgeous things anybody ever wrote. And it exists in 400 versions for 16 soloists, or for choir and soloists, or for choir alone, or the underwater version. And we talked about all of this, the outer space version. Well, this is the orchestral version. It's gorgeous. It's all beautifully played. It's all beautifully recorded. And it's really original. So if you like Vaughan Williams, you're going to want this. You really are. It's first rate every step of the way. So keep on listening, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.